Okay, boys and girls, are you ready for an ugly app today? So I've actually gotten the functionality of my little T Kenter app down for Meetup, but it's ugly as hell. So as I've talked about before, I'm using Meetup Pro as a way to gather information about the members of my Meetup. The problem is, though, with Meetup Pro is that Meetup essentially stopped developing their platform 2, 3, 8 years ago. So even though you do get some information, you don't get all the information that you need, and you sure as hell don't get it in a dashboard that's actually useful. So it's things like you can't see who's a no-show. So no-shows are an important thing in the Meetup world, right? If you RSVP and then you don't show up, that means you consumed a seat that you didn't use, right? That type of thing. It's also very hard just to track students or to track Meetup members to fully understand which meetups they're going to and which meetups they're not going to, so on and so forth. So one of the things you're able to do with Meetup Pro is you're able to download a CSV file, a comma separated value file that has a whole bunch of information about your users, so your members, the city, state, and country that they're from, a whole bunch of different stuff. This isn't everything. I actually took out some stuff because it might be private. But anyways, so all of this information you can actually download. I can actually also download information about the classes themselves, about the meetups themselves. And so I have been building this Python script to turn this information into a GUI app that will give me the functionality that I need. So if we go over here and we hit the up button and we run main.py, we get our ugly ass app. Look at this. Look at this. This is I think a useful thing to show you where you can start getting functionality, but you can start getting functionality out of something that is ass ugly. This right here is why UI UX developers get paid, because people like me make functional crap like this. Anyways, from here I can do a search. So like say I can search for an Eli. I can see a couple of Elis show up. So I'll open up the first one. And so with this, I can see some information about myself. Then we can also see I now have attended. So I see that I have attended these particular events. So these all have unique IDs, event ID numbers. So I just have to clean this up so I get a more human readable thing when I see that. But I can also go up to the other Eli here. I can open this record and then I can see no shows, right? So I showed up to one event and I didn't show up to 3 others, right? Now that I can track this type of information, I then can create reports. So as I showed you last time, like I have the city stat report. So this shows me the different cities that my members are in. We have a state stat, we have a country stat report, right? So any information that's stored, I can actually run reports off of. And so what's kind of cool here is I can then start running reports to see which of my students come to classes most. Did I have a student come to a lot of classes and then stop coming to classes? Is somebody being a no-show, that type of thing, to a lot of classes, right? And I can actually then use that information to make decisions. And that's really what all this is about. We can click down here to events. This pops up all of the different events that I've had. If I go here, let's say I do the smooth operator, I can select on this particular event, and this shows me information about the event. The event ID, right? That's the thing that I'm going to track based off of. Remember, in the technology world, we always need a unique ID. You give me a unique ID, I can do something. If I don't have a unique ID, might be a bit of an issue. I can see the RSVP count, the people that were supposed to come. I can see the zip code that this was at. Again, a whole bunch of different information here. And then down here, I can see the people that supposedly attended and the people that supposedly did not attend, right? So I can go through and I can say, I don't know, Gregory Mitt, he attended. And I can say Patrick Conant was a no-show, right? So that's there. I can remove people if I want. That remove button, oh my golly, you want to talk about pains in the asses? That remove button was a pain in the ass. To remove a name, because it also has to get removed from here, right? So when I remove something, you will see this see how it auto, right? And when I add, Right? So to get it to auto add and auto remove, both from here and from this little this list box was a pain in the ass. But anyways, we have that. Again, this is kind of the record keeping that we have. We have the event ID, we have the person's name, and then we have either yes or no show. So this is simply a way to create just a simple text record. I'm showing you this before I add on the user ID. So there is a unique user ID for everybody. I don't actually have this here because I want to be able to show you what I'm doing. After I get done, I will actually add the user ID there, and that is useful because what happens if people have the same name? So again, that's why you need a unique identifier, because if you're just using names as a unique identifier, if you have two people with the same name, then your whole system is going to go to garbage. Again, remember, when you're designing this, you're designing this. If you don't design it properly, everything goes to hell. So you actually want to track off of user ID, use that user ID as a pointer. So the user ID is X, that points to a name, and then you use a display name. User ID and display name is two different things. You actually track based off of user ID, and then you display the display name. But anyways, and yeah, so that's what we got going on here. So this is tkinter. Again, tkinter. This is Python. This is all literally written in text code, and when you run it, you get this. That's one of the other issues too in the programming world. Something to be thinking about is you actually have to design everything, or you have to create the design in text. So this is one reason too, where you actually want to sit down and you want to draw out what you want your application to look like, so that you can kind of do a paint by numbers with text, so that you can put all the boxes where they're supposed to. Because trying to design this as you're writing it out, believe me, is a pain, right? And it's also why you need to spend a lot of time thinking about what your user interface, user experience is going to be like, because it'll also like depending on how you want to write the code. So like I have all the statistics stuff here. So the statistics should actually be on an entirely different page. And so when I put the statistics on an entirely different page, that's actually going to take like an hour or so to modify all the code to make that happen. So if I had written the code originally to put all the stats onto a different page, I would end up saving myself a lot of time at the end of the day. So again, this is just kind of some of the stuff to be thinking about when you're actually going out there and programming. And this is why, again, this is why we get paid money, is to turn information that isn't very useful on its own into a platform, into an app that can actually allow decision makers to make better decisions. So anyways, if you like these kinds of videos, give us a thumbs up. If you don't like these kinds of videos, give us a thumbs up. Make sure to share the video, leave a comment, do all that kind of stuff. And with that, see y'all later.